Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, I want to thank again the media for coming here today, and I want to say this again like I did yesterday, is you are one of our most important tools to be able to get the right information out. So again, like we talked about yesterday with doing 2 press releases a day in conjunction between M&R and the city, we're going to do that, and as long as the situation warrants, we're going to do a press conference every day, and I think tomorrow is going to be at 1 o'clock. But we'll get Guy to send out more information as it relates to that, but I'm pretty sure we're going to do 1 o'clock here tomorrow afternoon. The other thing that, from a public perspective, that will be important is we do have Barry Gutcher, who is filming for us, and this will go out live on YouTube as well. So I think that's another avenue that we didn't have yesterday that we're going to be using. I also want to acknowledge some people in the room. I know we do have some councillors, and Councillor Black, Councillor Curley, Councillor Marks, and we have all kinds of representation from all the different agencies. Some of them are going to speak today. And again, like yesterday, everybody will be available for questions, one-on-ones after the press conference, and we will take questions as well. I know we do have Diane McCullough as well from the Ontario Fire Marshal's office, so if you want to wave, Diane. We have Roger Lord from the EMO, and we have Patrice Cloutier from Ministry of Public Safety and Security, right? So again, these are, if you think of the question yesterday about declaring an emergency, these are some of the support people that you get here on the ground. So very quickly, just to update you, very similar to yesterday, the fire status remains at extreme, and fire behavior again is unpredictable. And I think if anybody is looking outside and looking at the dust or tried to walk in here, the winds are very, very strong today, and that is expected to go for a little bit longer. The state of emergency is ongoing. The new fire, because again there was rumors that we have a new fire at Kamoskosha, or the fire at Kamoskosha was the head of this Timmins 9 fire. The fire at Kamoskosha is out. It was never part of the Gogama or the Timmins 9 fire, sorry, but it is out. Another rumor that again has been out there, and I know we talked about this yesterday, and I'm sure M&R will touch on it again. Yesterday it was predicted that the fire would cross Highway 101 and 144. I just drove to almost Star Lake, and I just drove almost to Matagami Lake, and the fire has not crossed. The fire has not crossed, so take that from the gospel. Again, from a public perspective, smoke and ash will continue. So again, we're urging people to close your windows, air conditioners, stay indoors if you have a respiratory condition, and we will have the medical officer of health that will speak a little bit about that shortly. Seek medical attention if your breathing problems prevail. We have the airport manager here today because there was a rumor yesterday that the airport was closed, and in fact I think a couple of flights got turned around. That was false. So I mean, again, I urge the media to to put that out there, that the Timmins Airport, all scheduled flights are on schedule and flying in and out. The evacuations that were announced here yesterday are still in effect. There's no other evacuations to announce at this time, nor do we have plans for any other evacuations at this time. And again, it's Hydro Bay. It's Kamoskosha, the town site of Kamoskosha, and if you wanted to have a kind of a rule of thumb, if you know where Tembec is and you went east and west, that's kind of your boundary right now for the evacuation. Downstairs here, the City and the Red Cross continue to provide a welcome registration center. So again, for the media's input, there was 210 people registered here yesterday, and 200 of those people found shelter with family or friends. 10 required accommodations. I want to really emphasize this from a media perspective. Fire updates in conjunction with M&R will continue. The updates will be sent to media posted on www.timmins.ca and social media. Traffic to our website is up significantly, and that's great news. Info is accurate and factual. So that website and the M&R website are the only two that have factual information unless somebody's actually cutting and pasting that. I want to stress the importance of relying on fact-based information available only from the M&R and city websites. Again, I'm emphasizing that because that is very important. The rumors out there and the chasing that our fire departments and others are doing and the time being spent is unbelievable. If the rumor you heard is not confirmed at either one of these sites, then it's just that, a rumor. In fact, I had a couple of rumors this morning from some media people as well. Dedicated telephone line is now active. Fire updates are available by calling 705-360-8720. The message will be updated when something changes. So if you called last night and you call again this morning and the message is the same, that's because nothing has changed. So we're not going to change the message every hour or every half hour. We're going to change it when something changes from a fire perspective. Again, as yesterday, because of the smoke that's coming into the community, we have people who again are seeing smoke, calling 911 and saying there's a fire. They don't know where the fire is, but they're saying there's a fire. Again, if you don't see fire or it's not something new, please don't tie up the emergency responses. Again, that's critical. The total outdoor water ban is still in effect. So an example, water fountains at the Hollinger Park and other locations have been turned off to preserve water. A good example, or the reason for that, would be we had the fire at Kamoskosia last night. We had 7 tanker trucks shuttling water. They were using the hydrant right at Home Depot. So they were running continuously. If we run into those kind of situations, we want to make sure we have water available. So again, the water ban is still in effect. And again, as I said earlier, we will have a media conference here tomorrow at 1. And I guess, Guy, I'm going to say it's tomorrow at 1 unless something changes. And we are also going to have one on Sunday. I'll give those details out tomorrow as well. And with that, I would like to turn it over now to the M&R, and I have Michelle Nowak, who's going to give us who's going to give us an update on the fire.
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon, everybody. And I'd like to thank the Mayor for giving a very good synopsis of the situation today.
That mic is just feeding into him, so you're going to have to speak a little bit.
Okay. Good afternoon. I'd like to thank the Mayor for giving a really thorough synopsis of the fire situation today and to date this week. So today on Friday, May 25th, as the Mayor said, we've got the fire conditions are still stressing the fire. Today, the fire grew today from yesterday to approximately, we're tracking it at about 31,660 hectares. So overnight, the fire did exhibit some extreme fire behavior, and that was due to the high winds. You can see little different conditions in the sky this afternoon. It has cleared a little bit from yesterday's hazy, smoky conditions. That's because the temperature dropped a bit from yesterday, and with that, coupled with the higher humidity, allowed the skies to clear a little bit. At this time, the fire is approximately 2 kilometers south of Highway 101 and approximately 2 kilometers west of Highway 144, and it is 30 to 35 kilometers away from the city of Timmins. So there is still a possibility that the fire could cross the highways. So the conditions this afternoon, we've got the winds blowing, gusting up to 60 kilometers per hour, and this could push the fire east to northeast today. So as the Mayor said, we have no evacuations that were announced today, and all the evacuations that happened are still in place, and our smoke alert does remain in effect. So as far as fire suppression efforts, M&R fire crews today, we have 20 crews, 4-person crews on the fire today. And to complement that, we also have heavy dozers, we've got heavy equipment, and our air attack water bombers, the CL-415 water bombers, addressing the fire. And most of those crews are on-the-ground crews are working to protect values, so to place sprinklers and to protect any buildings that we can right now. Our air attack is working to support the heavy equipment on the ground, and right now we have them concentrated at the northeast end of the fire, and you'll see a map behind me that we can speak a little more to as well. And that heavy equipment is being established right now as we speak at the southeast end of the fire. And that's all the updates I have for now, and perhaps we can rejoin at the maps to talk a little bit more about the suppression efforts. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle, and just to correct myself, because again, I'm not a technical guy, we're not going live with YouTube. This is being taped and will be put on YouTube. I was just corrected to that, and I have to apologize to my friends from CTV who I stood up out on the highway. I had to end up coming back, so I apologize for that, and we can do something after for sure. I do have Randy Pickering, who's going to give us an update from an M&R perspective regionally.
Good afternoon. Just again from the M&R district perspective here in Timmins, we do continue to support the local fire headquarters in terms of providing our staff resources within our district to them where that's required, as well as we have a fully staffed emergency response team in the district that is fulfilling that function in terms of the evacuations that have happened on Crown land outside of the city limits, as well looking at the various values and anyone who might be out there that we need to alert fire to. I do again want to stress that the emergency area order that remains in effect and the implementation order under that emergency area order remains in effect. So again, stressing that that order does prohibit the use, activity, and travel on any public roads within that area. Once again, I want to stress the importance of that in terms of preventing people from going into the area where fire crews are working, where there is any type of risk from a public safety perspective, and where we have initiated evacuations. Our enforcement staff are out there patrolling 24/7, and we have, I'm sorry to report, we have had some charges laid with respect to that implementation order. So again, I want to stress that please, in your messaging, do encourage the public to respect that and to stay out of the area. Thank you.
Thank you, Randy. I'll ask Mark DePazzi to come up and give a report from an OPP perspective.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. From an OPP perspective, our efforts have continuously been towards public safety, maintaining public safety and the protection of private property. So we are continuously reassessing every 4 hours the need of redeployment of our officers and resources towards those two primary priorities that we have within the scope of the forest fire and its required calls for service. The 100% evacuation is complete of all the affected areas, most recently being Kanawha-Missy Lake. And as Randy had touched on, access to these points within the affected area will incur intervention by the Ontario Provincial Police, and then we'll turn you over to the Ministry of Natural Resources for further investigation and prompt enforcement action. The property owners, either it being seasonal residences or your permanent residents, rest assured that the OPP is engaged in continuous, seamless patrols of these areas, and we're using every available resource to make sure that nobody wanders onto your property while it's unattended for nefarious purposes. All persons located within the affected area will be interviewed by the OPP to make sure they had a legitimate purpose, and there are none. So we will be vacating these people from the immediate area. As a sidebar, there was a minor power outage in the town of Foleyet. It has now, I'm told, been restored, the power that is, and we are continuously working with our community partners to make sure that no damage comes to any of the properties that have been affected by the forest fire. In closing, I'd like to thank the City of Timmins for the use of their facilities here. This, as the Mayor has addressed, will help alleviate a lot of the stress related to the rumors that are running rampant. That's one thing we can't control, and the poor joke we have around the command post is that nothing runs faster than a forest fire other than the rumors surrounding a forest fire. So bear that in mind. And as the Mayor makes an excellent point, unless you hear it from a person in authority, then it is just a rumor, and it should be given the accustomed weight that rumors deserve. And with that, I'll turn it back over to the Mayor.
Thank you, Mark, and I can vouch for the fact that they're doing patrols on a regular basis. I was out last night with the fire chief. They pulled us over, I think, 17 times. I'm not sure if it was related to his driving or not, but they are definitely, and I can say from an M&R perspective as well, we went into some of the side roads, and the sprinkler system that they put on, unbelievable. I was glad that I had that opportunity to see that myself, and I'm hoping at some point in time, from a media perspective, we can get you guys out there to see that as well. Shannon, from the Timmins Police. Shannon Delgades.
Thank you, Mayor. First off, I would just like to report that the evacuation yesterday of Kamuscotia Highway as well as Kamuscotia Lake went without incident. We, the Timmins Police Service, would like to thank all of the residents for their cooperation. It's not easy to pack up and leave your belongings. We have made every effort in the evacuations that we have done to give people as much notice as possible, whether it's by phone, in order to allow them to get ahead of the officers actually showing up at their residence to ask them to leave. Everyone has been sadly cooperative with us, but we thank very much for all the residents who we have had to evacuate, and hopefully we will not have to do that anymore. The areas that were evacuated have been reported that they are still closed, and I would like to just ensure to you that they are being patrolled by Timmins Police as well. We are responsible for the roadblocks in those areas, but we are patrolling the areas to ensure, first of all, that everything is safe, and second of all, to ensure that no one has snuck in by a side road or a back road. At that note, I'd just like to reiterate that all of these orders are put in place for the safety of the citizens of this community, and you know, they're there to make sure that everyone is safe, including the police officers and the other emergency response personnel who have to patrol and who have to maybe go into those areas to ensure or to get you out if you are in there. So please abide by the orders. Again, to the rumors, we have a very coordinated effort put forth and a system in place for the evacuations. So unless you're actually hearing from one of the websites or on the hotline or a police officer showing up at your door and telling you that you have to leave, it just is in fact a rumor. Our communication centers are tied up with lots of inquiries. We have officers still patrolling. It's status quo as far as the city itself goes and the policing that we are doing within the community. The officers are being drawn from the other areas within the police service to ensure and perform the duties required in relation to the fire. We also would like to thank the members of the public and the businesses in the community who have graciously donated items to the police service. We've had items dropped off at both our command centers as well as the police office. They are greatly